What if one of the world's least connected countries suddenly became one of the most strategically important digital gateways on Earth? Imagine a place once overlooked on the global tech map, now positioning itself as a bridge between continents, data flows, and the future of the Internet. Today, we're diving into a story that sounds almost unbelievable at first, but it's real, ambitious, and potentially transformative. This is the story of a bold $800 million fiber optic vision that aims to connect Burkina Faso directly to the global digital grid. And at the center of it all is a leadership decision that could redefine not just a nation, but an entire region. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just about cables and connectivity. It's about power, independence, opportunity, and the silent infrastructure shaping the modern world. By the end of this video, you might start looking at the Internet and global influence in a completely different way. To understand the weight of this project, we need to begin with a simple truth. In today's world, data is as valuable as oil once was. Countries that control the flow of information hold immense economic and strategic advantages. For years, much of Africa's internet infrastructure has depended heavily on external routes, often routed through Europe or other regions. This means slower speeds, higher costs, and less control. Burkina Faso, a landlocked country in West Africa, has historically faced exactly these challenges. Limited infrastructure, high connectivity costs, and dependence on neighboring countries for internet access have created a digital bottleneck. For businesses, students, entrepreneurs, and even government institutions, this has been more than just an inconvenience. It has been a barrier to growth. Now imagine flipping that reality. The proposed fiber optic revolution is not just about improving internet speed. It's about building a national backbone that connects Burkina Faso directly into the global digital ecosystem. This involves laying thousands of kilometers of high-capacity fiber optic cables, linking cities, rural areas, and crucially, international data routes. But why does this matter so much? Fiber optic cables are the foundation of the modern Internet. Unlike traditional copper cables, they transmit data as light signals, allowing for incredibly fast and reliable communication. Every video you stream, every email you send, every online transaction you make, most of it travels through these invisible highways of light. For Burkina Faso, investing in this infrastructure means reducing dependency on external networks, lowering internet costs, and dramatically increasing speed and reliability. It means local businesses can compete globally. It means startups can emerge in places that previously had no digital presence. It means education, healthcare, and government services can move into the digital age. But this story goes deeper than technology. There is a geopolitical dimension to this project that cannot be ignored. In a world where digital sovereignty is becoming increasingly important, controlling your own data infrastructure is a form of national security. Countries are beginning to realize that relying entirely on foreign networks can expose them to vulnerabilities economic, political, and even strategic. By investing in its own fiber optic network, Burkina Faso is taking a step toward digital independence. It's a statement that says, we want to control our own data, our own connectivity, and our own future. And then there's the economic angle. An $800 million investment is not small, especially for a developing nation. So why take such a risk? Because the potential return is enormous. Improved connectivity can unlock entire sectors of the economy. Think about e-commerce. With reliable internet, local businesses can reach international markets. Think about remote work. Skilled professionals can work for global companies without leaving their country. Think about fintech. Digital banking and mobile payments can expand rapidly, bringing financial inclusion to millions. And then there's the ripple effect. Better internet attracts investment. It encourages innovation. It creates jobs, not just in tech, but across industries that rely on digital infrastructure. But of course, a project of this scale is not without challenges. Building a nationwide fiber optic network requires not just money, but coordination, expertise, and long-term planning. There are logistical hurdles, laying cables across vast and sometimes difficult terrain. There are security concerns, protecting infrastructure from damage or disruption. There are financial risks, ensuring that the investment delivers sustainable returns. And then there's the question of execution. Many ambitious infrastructure projects around the world have struggled not because of lack of vision, but because of implementation challenges. So what makes this initiative different? One key factor is timing. The world is at a turning point in digital development. The demand for connectivity has never been higher. Remote work, online education, digital services, all of these trends have accelerated rapidly. Countries that invest in digital infrastructure now are positioning themselves for the future. Another factor is regional impact. Burkina Faso is not acting in isolation. If successfully implemented, this fiber optic network could become part of a larger regional system, connecting multiple countries and creating a more integrated digital market across West Africa. This could reduce reliance on external routes and strengthen regional cooperation. And that brings us to an interesting question. What happens when a country that was once digitally dependent becomes a digital hub? The balance of influence begins to shift. Control over data routes can translate into economic leverage. It can attract international partnerships. It can even influence how global companies operate in the region. But beyond strategy and economics, there is a human side to this story that often gets overlooked. Imagine a student in a rural village who can finally access high-quality online education. Imagine a small business owner who can sell products to customers across the world. Imagine a doctor who can consult with specialists in real time, saving lives that might otherwise be lost. This is what connectivity really means. It's not just about faster internet. It's about expanding possibilities. At the same time, we have to consider the broader implications. As connectivity increases, so does exposure to the global digital environment. This brings opportunities, but also challenges, cybersecurity risks, misinformation, and the need for digital literacy. Building infrastructure is only one part of the equation. Building the capacity to use it effectively is just as important. So the success of this fiber optic revolution will depend not just on cables and technology, but on education, policy, and long-term vision. Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Across the world, we are seeing a race to build and control digital infrastructure. Undersea cables, data centers, satellite networks, these are the new pillars of global power. Countries that invest in these areas are shaping the future of communication, commerce, and even geopolitics. In this context, Burkina Faso's initiative is more than a national project. It's part of a global shift. A shift where developing nations are no longer just consumers of technology, but active participants in building it. A shift where digital infrastructure becomes a key driver of independence and growth. And a shift where the next major tech hubs could emerge from places that were once overlooked. But here's the question that really matters. Will this vision become reality? Because ambition alone is not enough. Execution, stability, and sustained commitment will determine the outcome. If successful, this project could become a model for other countries facing similar challenges. It could demonstrate that with the right strategy and investment, even nations with limited resources can transform their digital landscape. If it struggles, it will serve as a reminder of how complex and demanding such transformations can be. Either way, the stakes are high. And that's why this story deserves attention. Because it's not just about Burkina Faso. It's about the future of connectivity. It's about who controls the flow of information. And it's about how the digital world is being reshaped, one fiber optic cable at a time. Now, before we wrap up, I want you to think about something. We often take the internet for granted. Fast connections, instant access, global communication, it all feels normal. But behind that convenience is a vast and complex infrastructure that most of us never see. And in many parts of the world, that infrastructure is still being built. So here's a question for you. If a country like Burkina Faso succeeds in building its own powerful digital backbone, do you think it will simply catch up to the rest of the world, or could it actually leap ahead in ways we don't expect? And another thought. In a future where data is power, who do you think will hold the real influence, the countries that consume technology, or the ones that control the networks behind it? Take a moment and share your thoughts in the comments. I'm really interested to see how you view this shift. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like it. It helps the channel reach more people who are interested in stories like this. And if you want more deep dives into global strategy, emerging technologies, and untold stories shaping our world, don't forget to subscribe to AfriPol Lens and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support makes it possible to keep bringing these stories to light. And remember, sometimes the most important changes in the world are the ones happening quietly, beneath the surface, just like the fiber optic cables that may soon redefine an entire nation's future.